All right, good morning, guys. It's another day here at Wired Customs. Customer finally brought us his iPad, and we're going to integrate it to make it look like the card came with it. Do this one at a slight angle, around a 20 degree angle. We're going to do it about like right there. That way there's less glare. Glare is kind of a big deal with these iPads. So we're going to do it at an angle. We're about to turn the CNC on and cut out a piece to flush mount it in. And this iPad here, we can actually add magnets on the piece we're going to create, and the iPad will stick to it. So stay tuned. All right, we are fabricating the iPad mount for this Cutlass. Like I told you guys earlier, I wanted to get an angle around 20 or so degrees. So we have the main portion here at the angle that we want. And of course, there's a gap right there at this moment. So we're taking some popsicle sticks and lining them all up. That's going to give it more of a structure, as well as know where it needs to meet the dash at perfectly. We're using some CA glue. It's like cryocrylate, whatever it's called. We call it CA glue in this industry. So you use the glue and then you spray it, and it's basically super glue that's activated with an activator. And it hardens instantly, and it hardens very, very hard. So we're gonna get the contour and those gaps filled up, then we can pop it off and start to fiberglass. All right, so we got the first layer. I went ahead and used Dynaglass instead of fiberglass. We used Dynaglass. This is made by 3M. It's the only Dynaglass I will use. So it's going to help get the contour, and the Dynaglass is extremely strong. Going to be near impossible for this piece to ever break. I also did the rear portion there, top portion. All right, so we're fixing to cut one of the panels that are going to go on the exterior. It'll be actually the outside panel. I'm going to cut that one first, which is kind of opposite of how you would think you would want to do it. But we're going to take some cardboard, and we've acquired a template here. That way I can get it as snug as possible, as well as I needed to know when this panel needs to come up, because we're going to come up and over, about as high as what the shifter knob is, about this high. And that way we can integrate some plexiglass and have it where you can look right through it actually. All right, so we just found out the floor on this Cutlass is not flat at all. I'm not just talking flat. I'm talking the passenger is an inch higher than what the driver is on the floor portion of it. So First piece we cut, we got it perfect, and we copied it, stuck it over on the driver, and it was about 1.5 inches less. And I'm, the hell, how is it not flat? So we recreated it, and now it is equal to the passenger. That was like another half-hour of work, so it is what it is. That's why this stuff costs. All right, so all these videos I do, a lot of people think everything's always perfect, right? We're gonna show you guys sometimes I do mess up. So I was copying one of the panels, copied it a little bit too perfect, and forgot that the left side is gonna have a different rotation that on the logo portion of it. So I tried to correct it with body filler, and it was working until it wasn't working. So this panel's scrapped. I'm already creating another one. It just goes to show you that I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes as well.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
All right, I just pulled out the rear deck, the stock rear deck carpet and cardboard piece. We had to remove the third brake light cover, which has 2 screws. 1 screw wasn't there, but here it is right here. All right. Now, we're going to use this to our advantage, right? And I've already marked it where it was in the car before it tucked up under the trim piece, because our piece is going to butt up against the trim piece instead of carpet folding up under it. Now we have a template to use on the exact angle that the rear deck is, because as you already know, the rear deck isn't just a straight piece, it's got a curve to it. So that's why when a piece has to come out anyways, and then we use it as a template. So now we're going to cut a piece of wood at least the length of the rear deck from stock, and then just trace it, cut it out, and start the rear deck process. This one's going to be good. Stay tuned. So on this rear deck, we're doing this in 2 pieces. The last one that we did in 3 pieces. We're gonna try 2 pieces just to make it 1 less piece. And has to be cut in 2 pieces because it can't physically go in the car as 1 piece due to how long it is. It's 57 inches long, which is extremely long. It's just about as wide as what the car is. All right, guys, I just added some neo magnets to the rear portion of the iPad trim bezel. So I'm not gonna stick it on there right now because it needs to fully cure. We just added some CA glue on it as well to help the magnet stay in place. And I was gonna wrap everything, but I think I'm just going to paint it, because when I did the body filling portion, I didn't take into account that we're going to be wrapping it so it's a tight pressure fit. If I wrap it, then it's not going to squeeze in there right. So I would have to modify it, and it's just easier for me just to paint it. So we'll paint it. All right, guys, I just lied. I'm going to wrap this piece now. I located an easy way to make the gap appropriate, and I've already made the gap. Now we're going to wrap. All right, guys, we finally got it perfectly lined up with the rear window and where it meets the rear of the seat. All right, guys, we're starting the rear deck in this Cutlass here. We are cutting out some trim panels right there. And then once these panels are on, we'll attach them to this piece, do some router work, and start making this thing pretty. All right, guys, we got the trim panel with the trim pieces put in place and body filled around it. That way we can pop them out. Let me see if I can do it with one hand here. Probably not, because maybe I can. Maybe I can do it. Oh. Now that piece now I can paint this piece, put grill material in it, and then slide it back in place after it's all wrapped, and it'll look all pretty. All right, so that Cutlass piece and black plexiglass, I have wrapped it up in tape to protect it. We're gonna add some double-sided foam tape to it to give it a gap. That way when we wrap this panel, the piece will be pressured inside it. So Once that dries, we'll pop that out and take off the tape, and it'll be a perfect tight fit. All right, in regards to how this piece is gonna mount, I'm gonna use what's called a threaded insert. This piece, we pre-drill a hole larger than like what I pre-drilled here, and then it'll screw in from the bottom portion of the panel that we're mounting to. So we'll create a hole here and then screw it through the bottom, and then we'll use a normal bolt from the top piece of the trim panel, so like right here, and it will screw into the nutsert right there. I'll take a little clip after I get it all in and everything. This way I can remove this panel as many times as I want. It will not deteriorate the wood, as well as it's a secure way to fasten the two pieces together. A normal screw will work for a little bit of time, and then one, it's going to deteriorate the wood, as well as it can become loose over time. All right, guys, we're fixing to make some pressed grill material. I have a template that I've cut out. The interior part here is a little bit smaller. It needs to be a little bit smaller than what the actual trim piece is. That way, when we press the material in it, it doesn't cut it because it's so tight. So I have the grill material here. I have a few different kinds. I'm probably going to use this one here. I believe it's black in color, grill material, hexagon, if I remember right. And then it's going to really make it look awesome. This is it right here. This is the grill material that we're going to use. Really nice stuff. I forgot I bought a smaller one. That one might be perfect already. Stick it on there, press it in, boom. Did that backwards. Yes. All right, guys, I have created a plexiglass piece that's going to lay over where the Corleone logo is. And the reason I had to do that, not because I really wanted to, but stuff always ends up cooler when, you know, there's stuff that pops up. It's going to be absolutely impossible to wrap material into the Corleone logo that we have cut out because of how small it is, because there's multiple right angles. It would be absolutely impossible. Nobody can wrap that right there. Impossible. So what we're going to do is I created this piece to lay on top, and we're going to paint the interior portion. So all that wood material, we're going to paint that black. And so it'll be the plexiglass piece, and then when you look in, that the lining of the logo will be painted black, matte black, and then you'll come to the plexiglass part. So that was the easiest way that I could figure to add a transition from the paint to the material. So I think it's gonna turn out good, nice, and actually even look a little bit better than just the way that it was about to be. So once this piece dries, once the body filler dries, we'll pop that plexiglass part out, and then we'll add primer and then flat black the interior portion before we start the wrap process. And the wrap process is coming up. And this has been a very, very long, hard build here, which is why it's expensive, because it's a lot of time. I've probably got at least a full week and a half on this car. Imagine you're at your workplace and you are working on one project for a week and a half. Imagine how much it would cost the company to pay you for that week and a half. If you make $1,500 a week, imagine how much that would cost. And then we have materials, and the materials on this isn't cheap either. Black plexiglass, we already know wood is expensive. Mesh grill material, the plexiglass is outrageous right now. Everything's outrageous. So wrap process is coming up. All right, guys, we're about to finally wrap the pretty part. I'm gonna just mark the exterior parameter here. That way I know exactly where I want the glue at. And then we'll put the other panel on here. That way it's right. It's positioned right.
Extremely hard panel to wrap, just got done sweating. That one was hard. A lot of people think I'm flawless, that is not true. And to prove it, here's the first one I tried. I'm gonna have to rip that off and try it again because I was hurrying a little bit too much and it's just not perfect. It's like small little imperfections that I don't like the average person wouldn't care, but I do. It has to be flawless for me to put it out. There's nothing, there can't be any wood exposed on these corners here. So that's what we're gonna do the next one now. See about a little more.
All right, the panel is complete. This is the panel right here, made out of 1/8" plexiglass. We're going to paint it matte black with the cage as well. We're gonna spray the cage as well because cages should really come black. But anyways, it's going to slide in here on the rear portion, just like that. And then when we flip it over, it'll look a lot nicer. Again, the other cage was, tabs were broken on it. So we're going to adhere this piece onto the factory panel and then snap it in all in one motion. On this Cutlass radio, this is his factory trim piece right here. The problem is his radio, and he already had the kit and everything. This is the kit. This is the proper kit. However, his mounting brackets are broken. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to create a piece with black plexiglass 1/8, and it's going to squeeze in this bottom portion right here. And I'll have a cutout for the stereo right here. And we'll place the plexiglass piece in place onto the car. And then we'll slide the factory trim panel over it, snap it in place. And then the radio will have a proper way to mount. So small little things like this come up in a large build like this, and we just have to adapt and overcome.